At one point, the builder base was the biggest and most exciting thing inside of the game. However, over the years, it has just deteriorated and it has arguably become the biggest failure in the game, and it's gotten even worse with the removal of training time. And today we'll be going over how it got here, as well as how Supercell's attempt at reviving it failed and what the future looks like for the builder base. So let's just get right into it. At the beginning, the builder base was a really cool new addition to the game since it was the biggest update the game had gotten, and it was just an entirely new base that gave you early game experience again and gave you more to do inside of the game while you were waiting for your army to train or something. Plus, the attacking portion of this base was also really cool because it was head on and you were directly competing against someone, which made it more exciting and just raised the stakes. This was pretty refreshing to play since you got to experience Clash of Clans in a way you never had before, and it was a cool experience at the beginning. However, this would really be the peak for the builder base since eventually the novelty factor wore off. This was introduced in May of 2017 with 5 builder halls, and fairly quickly the popularity started dying off, especially at the higher builder halls as things got way more expensive and progression seemingly became very slow as there was only one builder and everything took longer and was more expensive. Plus, you were limited in how many resources you could get in a day through the attacks, which definitely didn't help, and this started to make people play the builder base less. And new builder halls didn't really help bring more people back since it was just more of a grind for essentially no benefit other than being something for you to do outside of the home village. There were still quite a lot of people that were dedicated to the builder base, but there was a big gap between them and the normal casual players, and the biggest reason for this was because there was no extrinsic motivation for grinding this base. However, the same cannot be said for dropping a sub, as I'll be doing a gold pass giveaway if we can hit 40,000 subs by the end of May, so make sure to smash the sub button for a chance to win. But anyways, let's get back to the video. Things would change in March of 2018 when the gear ups were introduced to the game, since you would need to progress in the builder base to unlock these gear ups for your home village. Now, it is up to you on if you think the gear ups are beneficial or not, but they definitely can be helpful in certain base designs and especially with the multi-mortar in my opinion, so this definitely gave people a reason to play the builder base. However, all of this was optional, so no one was forced to play the builder or anything, so it was overall a good thing in my opinion, but it wouldn't really last too long and the builder base would once again become less popular. Once again, the problem was the progression feeling slow due to the limit on how much loot you could earn, along with the fact that it didn't have a big impact on your home village, so you didn't have that big of an incentive to play. The only fun part was really with the attacks and the different troops you could use, and this is why people would play it when they were bored and were looking for a little more to do in order to pass the time. However, there would be moments when the other person was stalling on purpose just to troll and waste your time, and if you experience this a little too much, then it could put you off from playing the builder base, and this was the biggest disadvantage of the head-to-head battles despite them being a really cool thing. So overall, the builder base wasn't looking great at this point. However, in July of 2019, we got the Builder Hall 9 update, which introduced the 6th builder into the game, and this is really what gave the builder base a purpose, since having a 6th builder in your home village would speed up progression tremendously, and it was something that everyone wanted since you know how it is with the upgrade times in the game, and with normal builders being relatively expensive, being able to get an extra one pretty much for free through the builder base would be great for players that don't already have 5 builders, and it would just help out players even more who do have 5 builders, and it would be a win-win for everyone. Now, in order to get the 6th builder, it definitely was a bit of a grind, and you definitely had to work a lot on your builder base if you had completely neglected it before, and you also had to unlock the gear ups in order to get the 6th builder, meaning those weren't fully optional anymore if you wanted another builder. However, in the short term, this definitely revived the builder base, as pretty much everyone was playing it since not many people had progressed too far, so they really needed to play it in order to upgrade their base enough to get the 6th builder. But this base would again slowly die off as more and more people unlocked the 6th builder and just stopped playing on the builder base since they once again had no purpose for it. And this is what would lead to it just slowly dying over the period of the next few years, and nothing was really being done to this base, and it seemed like it would just end up becoming forgotten until Supercell introduced the Builder Base 2.0 in May of 2023. This was obviously a big deal since it really changed up the Builder Base and added and removed a bunch of stuff to make it more refreshing. First of all, it removed the versus battles and replaced them with the more traditional attack style where you weren't directly competing against anyone, and this helped solve the problem with the versus battles that I mentioned earlier. And this new style was actually kind of better when considering the builder base as a whole, since people could just go into a battle and quit the game to get the battle over with, and this made farming a bit easier for the builder base, and it was something people were happy to do for the builder base on the side. However, with the removal of training time, that is no longer possible, and it will contribute to less people playing the builder base, but we'll talk more about that a little later. Other things about the Builder Base 2.0 update that made it interesting was the splitting of the bases and the new way that the troops worked, and this definitely brought attention to it, and it did make a lot more people come and try it out. Now, due to just how big the changes were, this update as a whole was a bit controversial, with some people liking the changes and others not so much, so it was a pretty mixed bag overall. And just like in the past, the active players would slowly fizzle out over time as people were done experiencing the new stuff. There was really no other reason to play the builder base other than just for the sake of progression, but once again the progression was just super slow and it wasn't fun at all with lack of loot and super long upgrade times. There really was just no reason to play the builder base after unlocking the 6th builder, since the home village was much more exciting. The only real use left for the builder base was for completing challenges for the clan games. But outside of that, there really has been no other purpose for the builder base, and it has been made even worse with the removal of training time, since that update is bringing big changes that will be affecting the builder base. Like I already mentioned, people can't just start a battle and quit right away to get it done with, so that means they are much less likely to want to actually play the builder base, since it's just extra work now and it won't be as worth it. And with the no training times, that means people can use whatever troops for the clan games for the home village challenges, since they don't have to wait anymore to train specific troops, meaning it will be a lot easier to do those challenges, and that basically removes the need for the builder base. Now, people will obviously still do the challenges, but it just won't be as necessary anymore, and that will mean a lot less people do it. So with this update, the need for the builder base is reduced significantly, and I think this really marks the final nail in the coffin for the builder base, which has just been slowly dying for years now, and this is really just why the builder base has been a failure. It has always just struggled to keep people playing on their own without any sort of extrinsic motivation like the 6th builder. I think the reason for this is just because the home village has always been more appealing and it has always had more going on, which made the builder base just less appealing to play, and is why no one really felt like playing it. Plus, you had the problem with the super slow progression, which made it even worse, and that is what I believe deterred people the most from playing it. They saw how big of a grind it was just to get the 6th builder, and that made them less likely to want to go ahead and continue with the base. It just wasn't something that was fun, even as a thing on the side for most people. I think Supercell could have potentially saved it by making progression a lot easier and by adding events and stuff to the builder base and giving it its own identity away from being a supplement to the home village. But I personally don't think that will ever be happening, and I think the builder base will kind of just be left alone for the most part now, and it will be there for people that want to play it. However, another possibility is that Supercell will add a new way to get the 6th builder, and that will let them just remove the builder base completely and replace it with something else, which will be really nice, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But that's also it for this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next one.